Mark, what's up, man?
What's good, bro? How you doing?
Man, I'm blessed and highly favored. Let me go ahead and do the usual. I gotta lift the camera up so you can see the cut that I had to get for this conversation. Hey, man. But hey, I'm so thankful that you hopped on here. I really appreciate you coming on here. 30 minutes of just greatness. I know that your motto is be great, so we're gonna get a little bit more into that a little bit later. But
Yeah.
the first and most important question that I ask everybody, let me go ahead and drop the camera down so you can see what I'm about to ask you. It says, have you smiled today?
Oh yeah, yeah. Plenty of times, man. I do it every day. I wake up early in the morning, so I have to get myself going, man.
Oh, you ain't got no choice then. You gotta
Yeah,
smile.
yeah. I got to. I got to, bro.
But before we get started, I have a confession to make before we get into the content. So I have a healthy level of envy for you in these three areas, all right? And now
All right.
I'm gonna say it, and we're gonna go through the conversation, and we're gonna go through basically each area.
All
So
right.
the first level that I have a healthy level of envy for you in is that you live in an NBA city, all right? You live in LA. You went from Kansas City, LA, all right? Now you know I'm an NBA guy, so and we ain't got no NBA team here yet. We're working on it. But
Right. Right.
that's the first one. The next a little bit more than mine. All right, I got a little bit of dye in my beard, so it's covering up the spot. So that's the second area. But the third area is that you also had the opportunity to attend the HBCU, and that is so important. And I think that it was highlighted during All Star Weekend for NBA. But just tell us a little bit about your time at the HBCU, and not just what it gave to you, but what you gave to it.
Oh man, it was great, bro. Actually, it's kind of crazy because I never intended to actually go to HBCU. It's kind of more of a last minute decision because I went to a community college at first. I went to Longview. I'm pretty
Hmm.
sure you're familiar with that in Kansas City. I went there for my first 2 years, and it just wasn't really working out. I was still staying at my parents' house. I was like, nah, I'm kind of over this because it felt like high school. So I was like, I need to go somewhere, not too far away, but somewhere, where I'm not in my parents' house still. So I went to Lincoln University, which was about 2 hours away from Kansas City in Jeff City, and ended up being a great experience, man. I met some lifelong friends there that we're still tapped in to this day. Just the experience, man, just being around a lot of successful or, people that had aspirations of being successful, and they look like me. So it was great, because a lot of my other friends that went to, big PWIs, and they had great experiences as well. Like went to like Mizzou or KU and things like that. But even they say like after they graduate, they wish they could have went to HBCU. So it made me feel even more more confident in my decision. It made me have more insurance. Like I made a good choice to go there. But just the experience, man. Like everything, the band, the sports, the party life, just the classrooms are more intimate. It was only like maybe 20 people in a classroom. If you go to like a big D1, it's like 100 people in a big room. So the teachers don't even know your name. So it was just more of a family environment, bro.
Man, well, let me add to that level of confidence because I went to Northwest Missouri State University. I'm sure you might be familiar with that, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm thankful that I got my degree there. But at the same time, I'm like, man, I wish I would have went to HBCU. There's sometimes where I think about that. So that's one of those areas where I have a level of envy for when it comes to you, just because I'm like, man, that would have been a great experience. And then seeing All Star Weekend and all the bands and all that type of stuff, I'm like, man, what was I doing? But I also didn't know about it, so it wasn't like I chose against it. I didn't know too much about it. All right,
Nah, it's all good, man. You can go to grad school or something.
I don't know about all that. I'm gonna have to pray about that one. But you went to Lincoln University, you graduated, and then you made that transition that a lot of college graduates have to go through, and honestly, that I'm going through at this moment. And you also have a post from 2017 about, just how you was in that transition period, and it made your faith in God increase. So, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, man. Just the whole transition from moving from Kansas City to LA. I mean, I never been to LA before I moved here. So,
Oh
you
man.
know, a lot of people, they visit the place first and then they move there like, oh, okay, I liked it a lot. But for me, it was unique because 3 months after I graduated, I got this call from somebody that I knew at Fox Sports in LA, and they were basically saying I had an opening for a position, and I do production there right now. And I was still in that mode where, I just graduated 3 months ago. I'm trying to figure out what's my next move. I kind of didn't really know, everything was still like fresh. And so I was like, okay, this sounds like something maybe that can get me going. And I took the leap of faith, man. It was a lot of praying, a lot of talking to my family, things like that. So I made the move, and it was rough at first, but luckily I had a cousin out here that I could stay with for a couple months to, you know, get my feet up,
Yeah.
save money because I didn't really have that much money at the time. So, California is expensive. We all know
Right.
that. So I needed that time to really, just really stack some bread up and just get acclimated. So, I stayed out with my cousin for about 6 months before I moved on my own, and ever since then, man, it's been great. I met some great friends out here, great people that I work with, people that I don't work with, but they're still like have aspirations of doing great things, and it just keeps me inspired, man. And that's what I meant when I was talking about my faith, just really believing that, taking this leap of faith would turn out great for me, because it could have been easy just to, I'm gonna just stay here for a little bit, try to figure it out, and then I would have probably regretted it. But I would always advise people, if you can get a chance to elevate, and even if it means move, and it might be scary because moving is not easy, especially moving to a big city where you don't really know anybody.
Right.
So, but I think it's worked out great for me so far.
Well, this is a little side note for everybody that might be thinking about moving to California. Just go check my man Mark's Instagram stories every now and then. He's always posting about the gas prices, so it might make you think twice about moving out there. I don't know if I would move out to California.
It's not that bad, man. Once you get used to it, it's like it's whatever, man.
Hey, well, on that note, since you are from Kansas City and you come back every now and then, what are the top three places that when you come back to Kansas City, you have to get something to eat that you can't get in LA?
Well, definitely barbecue. That's number one.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, you had a post about LA barbecue is
yeah,
trash. You was going
yeah.
in.
Yeah, the LA barbecue. I mean, but honestly, I could be harsh because I come from Kansas City and we have the
Right.
best barbecue.
Yeah.
So my standards for barbecue are very, very high. So maybe it's just too high, but I definitely need to get barbecue when I come to Kansas City. My top spots, obviously Gates. You gotta go to Gates. I like Big T's. What else? LC's. Like I like going to the hood spots, man. Like those like the best barbecue to me.
See,
Outside of barbecue, that's tough. Let me see where I go, man. Probably it depends on what season it is. If it's like during football season, definitely going to the Chiefs game. Or if
yeah,
it's baseball season, definitely going to a Royals game. Shout out to those teams. Because it's just home, and I'm a fan of both teams, so different vibe. And then I'll probably say, you know what? I like going to Top Golf. They don't have a Top Golf in LA. The closest one I think is in Vegas. So I don't think they have
wow,
it in California. So yeah, I like Top Golf.
that's crazy. I didn't know that it
Yeah.
was like that.
Or they might have one like in California, but it's probably like a couple hours away. Like it's not one in LA. I know that for a fact.
Hey, well, let me say this. When I was in college in Maryville, Missouri, in the country where they ain't got no food with season on it, whenever I
Yeah.
would come back to Kansas City, I would always go to Peachtree, the restaurant.
Oh,
Uh,
Peachtree's on there too. I love Peachtree. I love Peachtree. Yeah.
I always went to Peachtree, and then I always went to Go Chicken Go. That's where
Oh
I had
yeah,
to go.
yeah. See, I'm slipping. Those are the two I rock with too. But I was just thinking about. I didn't want to give you all food places, so I just said barbecue. But yeah,
Oh, that's all
those
I
are
do
those.
is eat. That's
Yeah,
all I do is eat. So you on
yeah.
the right track.
Okay, for sure.
But no, that's legit though. But transition on to more about you. You have a quote that you use, and it's basically your motto is "Be great." For me, my mantra or motto would be vision over sight, and that just means you might be facing some difficult times like your year in 2017 where you're transitioning to California, but as long as you got that vision of what you're trying to pursue, then you'll be able
Yeah.
to overcome that. So when it comes to your motto, be great, when was the moment that came to you that that's what you're going to stick to no matter what?
Yeah, it came to me during college. Really it stemmed from, I'll probably say, because I had early classes. So I always like to get my classes done early. I didn't like having like 2 or 3 o'clock classes in the afternoon or evening classes. Like I wanted to be done by like 12 or 1. Like, so I'm waking up at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. But mind you, I'm a night owl. So I would
Yeah.
stay up to like 1, 2, maybe 3 sometimes in the morning. Like ridiculous. I can't do that now. My body doesn't function like it did in college. But so for me, I was like, I gotta be great because you know how easy it would have been most days to be like, yeah, I'm gonna skip this class today. I don't feel like
Yeah.
7 o'clock today. I'll go the next time. And there were days where I did that. I lied to you, but for the most part, I had pretty good attendance, and I think that was because I kept telling myself I got to be great. And it extended more to just everyday life, man. I still wake up early. I mean, I work on Undisputed with Skip and Shannon, so I wake up like 4 o'clock in the morning because the show starts at 6:30. So, that's always been a thing for me. Just waking up early, getting your things done because I like to have the rest of my day. So I like knowing I've knocked out my main things for the day, like around, maybe 12 or 1, while most people are still working. So I feel like I have a little extra time. I try to really maximize my day. And I think also that goes to utilizing your 24 hours. If you use it correctly, you can really get out a lot of a day. I know people say the days are short, but they're really not. But people say that because they don't wake up that early. So if you really are disciplined, now I know people got work schedules, they can't do it like that. So, but if you can work around it, wake up early, get a workout in before work. You got to be at work at 9, get a workout in, wake up at 6, do a little workout. You'll be good. Get your shower, you good. You get off at 5, you come back, maybe take a little nap, a 30-minute, 45-minute nap, get back up and do what you got to do. So, you can still maximize your day, man. That's what I mean by be great. Just really maximizing your time because we don't got a lot of it, man. You got to use it as much as you can.
That's a big fact. And when you talk about 24 hours in a day, I always compare that to 24 hours on the shot clock. You're gonna have the
Mm.
ball in your hands most of the time, and then you got to find out well what opposition you're going to be dealing with. Whether because on the court it might be a 2-3 zone, but in real life it might be hitting that alarm clock, or
Yeah.
you gotta go get some coffee or whatever it's going to be. You got to go see those gas prices in California, whatever it's going to be. But
Yeah.
you gotta utilize those 24 hours, and I love that you pointed that out. But in college, it sounded like you was trying to be great on 2K. That's what you was trying to do.
Yeah, actually, we had a lot of 2K battles, to be honest. Yeah. It got real, man. It got real. Money got involved. Yeah, it was crazy.
Hey, that's college. That's what that's
Yeah.
for, though.
Yeah.
But you mentioned Shannon and Skip earlier, and I have a great question, but a story that goes along with it. So when I was in college, I had a podcast, and I was watching a lot of Undisputed, a lot of First Take, and you got those big personalities, Shannon, you got Stephen A, Skip Bayless, Max Kellerman, all these guys, and I was on this podcast, and I remember I finished it and I went home and I was living with my friend and he was like, "Man, you really sounded like Shannon, and you like Shannon and Stephen A." And when he told me that like it got me, I was like, "Man, I'm not really being myself. I'm watching too much of them." And at the
Yeah.
same time, they're putting out great content. At the same time, I got to be true to me. So
Right.
what I'm
Right.
linking that it to you is that when you're around these big name personalities and you have your own podcast and show, mark my words, how do you remain yourself even though you're around these big personalities?
That's a good question, man. Really, I just try to, I have certain people that I really like admire and look up to. So I try to like just take a little bit from everybody, but
Mm-hmm.
still incorporate it into my own style, if that makes sense. You know, it's kind of
Yeah.
like a basketball player. Like when they ask the greats, you know, how did you get to this level and things like that. And they always say, well, you know, I watched a lot of Michael Jordan, or I watched Kobe, or, you know, Tracy McGrady, things like that, Allen Iverson. But they always end up saying, I still have my own unique style of play, but I still looked up to those guys, right?
Right.
Because like LeBron, he said he looked up to Allen Iverson, but if you watch this game, you'll never think
Right.
Allen Iverson in LeBron's game, right? You know,
Yeah.
he looked up to Jordan, but we know LeBron has a different style than Jordan as well. So I just think more. I think it's more of a mindset thing. You know, just taking those guys' mindset, because they're hard workers. I mean, they go in. I mean, I know for instance, I mean, I'm right behind the scenes, so I see it firsthand. Like Skip and Shannon, nobody that I ever met in this field works harder than them. I mean, they're putting in long hours outside of the show, watching all these games, reading all these emails, suggesting topics and things like that. I mean, it's a lot that goes into it outside of the 3 hours you see on TV that
Right.
people don't realize. So for me, it's more of the work ethic that I take from them, not necessarily their on-air personalities per se, but I still will, you know, take a little bit of it, because they do have great speaking ability, the way they use their body movements and things, you know, little things like that. Because being on TV is not easy, so you have to really be on point, because you got millions of people watching you every single day, and you have to really make sure you're doing everything correctly, your facial structure. There's a lot of things that go into it, man. A lot of things that go into it. So that's what I would say. I take a little bit from everybody, but I still remain myself.
Yeah, and I always say that the root word in unique is you. And me and my mom always talk about this, is like, how can we be different, but also, like you said, take some of the stuff that we see from all these other great people and make it ours. And what I always tell her is just add you to it. So that goes right along with what you're saying.
Yeah.
And and I just think that's a great point that you made. But I got two more questions and I'm gonna let you go. I know that you're a very busy man, and we talked about those 24 hours, so I don't want to take up too many of those hours.
I
Uh,
appreciate it.
but my this question is about your kind of about your time in with HBCU and Lincoln University, but it's kind of geared towards the NBA. So with that being said, who is your favorite HBCU grad that played in the NBA?
Oh man. Woo.
I know I caught you off guard with
You
that one.
caught me off guard with that one, man.
And let me help you out though. Mine by far, and there's a lot of great ones, but mine by far is Ben Wallace from Virginia Union University. I think if you know anything about basketball, you know what he brought to that Detroit Pistons team when they won in 2004, I believe, and just the pride. And you can tell that he came from a HBCU university, or yeah, HBCU, because just the pride and personality that he played with, it rubbed off on everybody on that team. Of course, it led to them winning an NBA championship. But that's me trying to help you out. I know I caught you off guard.
You know, actually, honestly, I didn't even know he went to HBCU. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Actually, I'm not gonna lie to you. You have to throw some names out, because I'm drawing a blank on a lot of names right now. Just
Well, that's the only name I wrote down. That was my pick.
you don't know anybody else that went to HBCU?
I know more.
See. I know more football guys that played in the
Oh
NFL than
yeah.
HBCUs.
See,
Basketball is not that many in basketball.
I think you got
I think
Earl.
there's only one active, I think, in the NBA right now.
You got Robert Covington
He's the
for
only
on the
one, I think, in the league right now. But the
and
NFL, there's like plethora of guys.
and then that's another thing, is that they're starting to have more high school players that are starting to go in that direction with
Yeah,
like Mikey Williams and all these other young guys that are
and
coming in.
Bronny might do it too, especially with his dad influence. He might do it as well. But I
That
mean, I like the Ben Wallace pick though, because I didn't even know that, and he was always to me the best defensive player in the league,
mm,
and maybe one of the best of all time. I mean, his position, because he was so gritty. I love the afro he had. Now that you say it, it makes sense he went to HBCU, because he really
right.
embodied that that style. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't care. He had the afro hanging out. He got the braids sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
he was so tough. He had the the wristbands on his elbow. You know what I'm saying? So he really fit the HBCU mindset. Oh yeah, Cal Quinn. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. Cal Quinn. That's right. That's right.
we got Kyle
Actually, that's
Quinn.
what I'm gonna say because I have a petty reason for why I'm saying Cal O'Quinn because
Oh,
he
here we go.
North Dakota State, but they upset at Mizzou in a tournament. And
Oh.
if you know, I'm a KU fan, so I enjoyed the upset a lot from a personal standpoint. And yeah, and he went to Orlando, and at the time I was an Orlando Magic supporter. I kind of grew up being a Magic fan. I kind of grew out of it because I'm older now. I was like, I'm not really from there. They started losing guys that I like T Mac, Dwight Howard, things like that. So I was like, I'm cool. But yeah, I gotta say Kyle O'Quinn, man. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, my boy. I forgot about that.
Well, let me throw a few more out there. We got Earl Monroe. We got Avery Johnson. That's probably one of my other
Oh
favorites,
wow, I
Avery
didn't know that.
Johnson.
See, I didn't know that.
We got Rick Mahorn, Charles Oakley, Sam Jones. So,
Okay.
I got a list up, so that's
So yeah,
helping me out.
it's more of old school. It's not really a lot of recent guys. It's a lot more
Right.
older guys. Yeah, that's
But
what's up. Though.
hopefully it goes back in that direction. And I see made a comment about Chris Paul, and that was
Well,
a big thing. I know that you posted about it. He didn't go to a
yeah, he didn't go to
HBCU.
one, but he reps HBCUs hard though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially in the bubble when he had different shoes and even had Lincoln University.
yeah, yeah,
But I just think
yeah.
that getting that exposure, I think there's going to be a lot more, and hopefully there will be a lot more.
Yeah, I think it will be. It's all going to take just one of these high profile high school guys to really go, like a Mikey or a Bronny. If one of
Right.
those guys do it, then it's going to change the whole narrative.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And but my last question, and this is always my last question to my guests, and I got a few that go along with basically who you are and your be great motto. Your is my favorite or my question is, what is your favorite quote? So my two quotes that go along with that question that pertain to you is, good is the enemy of great, and then also greatness isn't a single act, but it's the repetition of those single acts. So
Mm.
with that being said, and of course, you got this one guy named Mark Gunnels with the quote, be great. So just throw that in there. But do you have a favorite quote other than be great?
Oh man, actually, I saw a quote yesterday. I seen it before because yesterday was the 2-year anniversary of Nipsey Hussle passing away.
Yeah.
And he had a great quote. I might miss it. I don't know if I got it word for word, but he was basically saying that if you have a circle and you don't feel inspired by, you
Mm.
basically have a cage. Like you don't have a circle. Like if nobody in your circle inspires you, you're in a cage, not a circle. So like to me, that was deep because
Yes, sir.
for me, I could resonate with that because since I moved out here, the people that I are surrounding myself with in LA, they inspire me. Like everybody that I hang out with out here inspires me in some way. They're either doing, have their own business, they're in the sports journalism field, they're an actor, a model, or something. They're doing something positive or being a great father. Anything like that. All those things inspire me in a certain way. So it resonated with me because there was a time back in my past, probably like in high school, early college years, where my circle, nobody inspired me, but we all had fun and stuff. It was
Right.
great times. But now I look back on it, I was in a cage and I wasn't at the point where I needed to be until I started providing my circle with more people that inspired me. So I think that quote really, really resonates.
Yeah, and I recently just watched this interview. I'm not sure who the person was, but they were talking about how growing up, you don't get to choose what school you go to. So with that being said, you don't get to choose what friends you have. And we
Yeah,
really don't get to decide that stuff until we graduate from high school or college and really become who we are. So that's a big fact. I can relate is that like a lot of times in high school I was hanging around people that weren't inspiring me, or we just like to play 2K together. But that's
yeah,
not really helping me become who I need to be. So that
yeah,
I can definitely relate to you when it comes to that.
yeah. No, 100%.
But that's all the questions I got, Mark. I really appreciate you hopping on here for these 26 minutes. I had a great time, just talking to somebody who's from Kansas City, who's being successful in the same field that I'm trying to be successful in. So I appreciate you, Mark. We'll stay in touch and we'll keep on working. I want to thank everybody that hopped on here, and I hope that everybody smiled today.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, bro. We gotta do it again, and we're gonna link up when I come to KC. I'll be out there this summer, so we'll link up, bro.
We going to go chicken go. We going somewhere.
Oh yeah, we're gonna hit up something. Yeah, we're gonna hit up something.
All right, Mark. I'll catch you later.
All right, bro.